It is time for the Tan and the J Man Show. Huge show tonight. Two of our favorite things coincide the same week. It seems like it happens a lot, but it seems like for whatever reason, maybe it's just because I was busy, but I did not think they were going to coincide this week. NCAA tournament, NFL free agency. Fun time to be alive.
Yes, sir. J-Man, hope you're doing well. Congratulations. First podcast as the married man. J-Man, the married man, showing off the ring right there. Very fun wedding. Got to show all the audience on the ISC Sports Network a picture of the wonderful wedding. There we go.
Love it.
That's myself on the left, my fiance Stephanie, followed by the beautiful bride Megan, and the handsome groom himself, the J-Man. So,
hey,
I got permission of one of the. I got permission from one of the females. I should have probably reached out to both before I shared that, but
she makes her appearance. I think that's the first time anyone's ever seen a picture of her. Tan J-Man.
I think so. I think that goes for both. So, good time to debut it. Good time to debut it. But great weekend, great wedding, beautiful, fun times, a lot of dancing. Lost my voice a little bit.
I'm still. My voice is still recovering, so give me a break there.
I'm surprised how mine's bounce back, considering I yelled pretty loudly at the Purdue Penn State game yesterday. So I tried not to, but those last 2 or 3 minutes really angered me. So.
We might have had to push the show back if the show was yesterday, because you were dealing with losing your voice from the reception, also Penn State game. I had completely lost my voice and sounded terrible due to the cigars I smoked, speaking to a lot of people, the reception, singing, all of that. So slowly but surely, she's coming back.
Yeah, but we do have a packed show tonight, like you said. So let's dig right into it, dive right into it, whatever you want to say. I got a birdie or bogey question for you. It's NFL related. I have a 2-stroke lead coming in tonight, so this is a big one. This is a big one.
Your one wedding, I mean, I know you already gave me your wedding gift, but your one wedding gift could have been just lobbing me a softball.
It could have been, but not that nice. But you do have a chance for a birdie or a par or a bogey tonight, so that's a little bit of a gift.
I'll take it.
You might have seen this because Jalen Ramsey got traded to your favorite NFL team, the Miami Dolphins. So you might have seen this. Well, I'm taking a chance here. Jalen Ramsey became the 4th defensive back in NFL history to be named first-team All-Pro 3+ times and play for 3+ different teams before turning 30 years old. Who are the other 3 defensive backs to do this? Get 2 for a par, 3 for a birdie, 1 or 0 for a bogey.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I can. Jalen Ramsey became the 4th defensive back in NFL history to be named first-team All-Pro 3+ times and play for 3+ different teams before turning the age of 30. 3 other defensive backs.
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. I'm going to say right now that I'm not going to get it right. I'm hoping for a par at least, but I doubt I get a birdie. But Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House, which Arlington Public House has upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere, located 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. They had not put any specials up this past week, but I'm sure their food was really good, as always.
You can't go wrong with the pork chop or their burgers, or they always have some good seafood on the menu. You can't really go wrong with anything on the menu. So if you live in northern Indiana, especially around Rochester, Fulton County, you haven't been there, definitely go give it a try. You will not be disappointed. All right. So what are we starting with tonight, J-Man? Do you want to hit some NFL free agency, or do you want to dig right into March Madness, talk about our brackets, matchups, players, sleepers, dark horses, upsets?
I say NFL free agency.
All right. Let's do it. Well, the big rumor of the day, it hasn't been confirmed, but Trey Wingo posted that it looked like Aaron Rodgers would become a member of the New York Jets today.
Yeah. As you said, Trey Wingo has reported.
He's a pretty respectable guy. You know, he's one. If he throws it out there, I'm going to believe what he's saying.
However, I got to hear from Schefter or Rappaport first before
Yes,
or
100%.
even, yeah, there's a few other guys that because, yeah, Wingo's not technically an insider.
True.
But yeah, he's usually correct. And the funniest thing is, Rodgers could have had this all figured out. He even said to the Packers, "I'm not going to hold them hostage this year. I'm going to choose like right away after I go on this weird darkness retreat." And here we are, free agency started, and we still have no clue. I'm holding the Jets, which is funny, and the Packers hostage right now. Jets missed out on Jimmy G waiting for him. You could even say the Packers missed out on Jimmy G waiting for him as Jimmy G signed with the Vegas Raiders. But we talked to a few Green Bay Packers fans at my wedding over the weekend, and they had the exact same sentiment as they are so sick of the drama and they hope Rodgers is gone. So I think a lot of
Yeah.
Packers fans are feeling that way.
I think I talked to three of them at your wedding, and every single one I asked, said, I'm over them. Let's just go, Jan, see what we got. So,
And one of the guys, Roger Bogle, I give him a shout out by name.
yep.
One of the biggest Packers fans I know. Has his man cave is awesome. He has Reggie White jerseys everywhere. Wears cheese heads all the time. Said, done with him. I would rather lose with Jordan Love than win with Aaron Rodgers at this point. So
Yeah, it's hard to get rid of a legend, but sometimes it's just time. And it just seems like for both parties involved, it's just time. It just feels weird that that exit might be to New York, just like Brett Favre, who came before him. It's like, okay, then he's going to play a year in New York and then go to Minnesota when they get rid of Kirk Cousins?
yeah,
You never know.
his career's playing out kind of the same way as Brett Favre did. Favre only won one Super Bowl as well, right?
Yeah, I won one, only played in
Only got
two. They're back to back.
Yeah.
Should have got to one third in Minnesota.
Yes.
Lost to the Saints in 2010. Well, he had some other chances with Green Bay too, because like we've talked about in the past, and people probably think I'm wearing a Green Bay hat, but this is Seattle SuperSonics. Just yeah, I do, and I just want to clear the air there for somebody that might be out there watching for the first time. I mean, Favre had other chances, and like I said, because it seems like the Packers always have home field advantage,
Always.
or more times than not, and they never or rarely get there.
Well, I'll never forget that super cold game, the first Giant Super Bowl with Eli Manning. It was like 2 degrees out. They went into Green Bay and beat them. San Francisco, of course, went into Green Bay. Was that last year and beat them?
Yes.
Knocked them out. Yeah, it does feel like, yeah, they're 13-3. This is the year. Then they get beat. And I don't even really remember them losing in the conference championship game. It seems like it's always their first game they're playing at home.
Right.
I do remember them choking that fairly big lead away against Seattle. That was in Seattle. In the conference championship game, they missed an onside kick. Or no, Seattle got an onside kick, and then they ended up tying it and winning in overtime. But yeah, the fact that Rodgers has only got there once, and it was 12 years ago now, 13 years ago. One of the greatest quarterbacks ever, but again, probably got to win more.
Yep.
I know it's ironic coming from a Dan Marino fan, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, I mean, Marino would definitely get the same flack today if it was, if he played in today's age. So, and I know it's not all on the quarterback. It's, what do they have around him and different things. But, and that's part of the fault is to Packer management. They haven't built around him very well. But at the end of the day, it all falls on the quarterback. Doesn't really matter. It's kind of
they are never very active in free agency.
No.
And I know it's probably hard to lure players to Green Bay, Wisconsin, to play a majority of your football games. So they have to build through the draft, and it seems like they're always going defense, and they have never really gotten Rodgers many weapons. I don't have they even taken a wide receiver in the first round?
I think going into a year or two ago they hadn't. I don't believe they took one in the past 2 years.
Yeah, Randall Cobb was a second-round pick. I think Jordan Nelson was second or third-round pick. Devontae Adams was second-round pick. This past year, Christian Watson was second-round pick. So they haven't really and I know they're usually picking in the 20s, so it makes it a little more difficult. But
right.
You look at some of the wide receivers that were taken in the 20s, like a Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they trade Devontae Adams away, and those young receivers – did not produce as well as they thought they were going. And you know what? 50% of that blame's on Aaron Rodgers for not showing up in the offseason. So
Sure.
he can blame the organization in the young receiving core all he wants, but he needs to look at himself in the mirror, and he's never done that, ever. It's never
No.
been his fault.
He'd rather go on dark retreats.
Yeah.
Host Jeopardy. Go on Pat McAfee every week. Go on Joe Rogan once in a while. So
Yeah.
my bold prediction that he retires still out there. Still not wrong yet.
Could happen.
Still not wrong.
That would be great if he signs with the Jets and then about July just decides to hang her up. That would make me very happy.
I did put your bold prediction that Rodgers or Brady would be a Dolphin. I did go ahead and mark that one in red. I think that's pretty. Yeah.
I'm still hearing Tom Brady's name way too much
Well,
from national guys, and I don't know if it's just them drumming it up to get clicks or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
he's came out and denied a report once that he's coming back. Man, he would look like a fool if he did. Yeah, he would look like a fool this time around, but
I agree.
teach their own. What other big free agency news was there today?
Well, the Dolphins traded for Jalen Ramsey yesterday.
Yes.
Which was, huge. They only gave up a third-round pick and a tight end that had, I think, 2 career catches. So that's huge. I know his metrics weren't elite last year. Still had 4 interceptions, one of the best DBs in the game. Have him in Vic Fangio's defense. And I assume his addition will help Xavier Howard out significantly because there was nothing on the other side last year. You have Jalen Ramsey, Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, Cater Kohu, Xavier Howard, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Christian Wilkins. This defense is loaded. Now it's time to start producing. So that's where I'm.
Yes, it is. I'm looking at info.com to see. I did see the Steelers signed 3-time All-Pro cornerback Patrick Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta got signed Jesse Bates.
Yeah,
4th highest contract amount safeties.
The Cincinnati Bengals lost their 2 starting safeties today, so their defense got worse.
It's never good.
Yep. Bears are the ones going out and making the splash, signing Tremaine Edmonds from
big deal.
Huge deal from the Buffalo Bills. He's arguably just as good as Roquan Smith too, and they got him for cheaper, and they got a 2nd-round pick for Roquan Smith. Who else did they sign? They had another big money. TJ Edwards, I believe, from the Philadelphia Eagles linebacker. So their defense is obviously their biggest needs, offensive line as well. But they traded the number 1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers for DJ Moore, a 1st-round pick, I think a 4th-round pick, and then a 1st-round pick next year. So they just keep stacking picks to take guys in the trenches.
I honestly thought they might give 3 first-rounders out of it. That's kind of what I was hearing on some different podcasts. But even to get 2 and get some other nice picks, perfect team for them to and DJ Moore, a weapon for Justin Fields, which he hasn't had. Perfect team to do business with for them. Cole fans have to be frustrated because assuming they wanted C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, they're not going to be there. They're going to go 1 and 2. I don't know which combination yet, but they're going to go 1 and 2. They can still afford to get Will Levis or Richardson from Florida if they want. We'll see. Or maybe I doubt they'll do that, but maybe they throw their hat in the ring for Lamar Jackson. I don't think they will, but I talked to one Colt fan at your wedding that would like them to do that.
Yeah, I don't see Lamar Jackson going to Indianapolis.
I don't either.
For one, he's his own agent, which is not very smart, which has hurt him significantly too, I believe. And it seems like the NFL is kind of colluding against him. He seems like either Baltimore or Miami. He's from Miami, grew up a huge Dolphins fan. It just feels like he's going to be a Miami Dolphin at some point in his career. I don't think it'll be right now. Dolphins have way more needs than quarterback. Indianapolis, I guess if they give him the right deal, he'd go there. He just doesn't seem like an Indianapolis Colts type of player. Not sure what kind of offense there. Who did the Colts hire to be there? Oh, it's Jim Bob Cooter, right? He's
Jim Bob Cooter, yep.
Not sure what type of offense he runs there. When all said and done, I think he ends up back in Baltimore. I just don't see him leaving. And the other veteran quarterbacks, they've missed out on Derek Carr going to New Orleans, missed out on Jimmy G, as I said, going to the Vegas Raiders, even missed out on a guy on Sam Darnold who signed a 1-year deal with the 49ers today. So I don't know. Teddy Bridgewater's out there. Maybe they do a bridge year and try to shoot for Caleb Williams, tank for Caleb Williams, sort of deal. So, I don't know if the North Carolina quarterback is draft eligible yet, but
I don't believe he is.
yeah, I think he was a true freshman. Maybe they just go the tank route this year. I know they did it last year, but they're not going to. And Will Levis and Anthony Richardson are so risky to be taking in the top 5. They had good workouts, but you know who else did? Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's workout was phenomenal, which is why he went number 2 overall.
Yep. Looking at, I mean, there wasn't a ton of big names that made moves today, but there were a couple. A lot of backup quarterbacks. Case Keenum, 2-year deal with Houston Texans, so he'll back up whoever they sign. Jimmy Garoppolo, like you said, 3 years, $72.75 million deal.
Is he an upgrade over Derek Carr?
I don't think so.
I think they're pretty similar.
And we hadn't talked about Derek Carr going to the Saints, I don't believe, before on the pod. So I missed that one. I had him going to the Commanders. My Broncos have been active today, improving, in my opinion, at least their offensive line a little bit. Got Mike McGlinchey from San Francisco, paid highly for the right tackle, though. 5-year deal, $87.5 million deal. Over $50 million of that guaranteed. They outbid the Bears, it sounded like, for him. Then they signed Ben Powers, guard from Baltimore, 4-year, $52 million deal. So that says bye-bye to Dalton Reisner, who was a Bronco since he got drafted. And they this was just announced by Schefter. They got tight end Chris Manhertz from Jacksonville. And then they got Jared Stidham today, 2-year, $10 million deal from the Raiders, the backup, Russell Wilson, which I was hoping for a little bit of better veteran backup, but he's probably still an upgrade over Brett Rippon a little bit. So.
And he played fairly well filling in for Derek Carr when they decided to go a different direction.
I saw one guy complaining that they overpaid. I'm like, they paid him $10 million for 2 years. Like,
for backup, I'd rather pay him $10 million than Mike White $16 like the Dolphins did.
Right. So
for a guy who isn't that much better than Skylar Thompson. But one thing Sean Payton has always had is a good offensive line. He's already doing it. So.
And I think they'll continue to add maybe a few more through free agency and then draft. They don't have a first or second round pick, so I look a lot of their picks to be offensive line based. They haven't had a good offensive line in years, and it's time to make that a strong strength of the team, especially if he wants to run the ball a lot to set up play action pass. So. Yep. Yeah, Colts pretty quiet. Colts haven't done much yet. So nothing to report on them.
It might be shaping up to be one of those off seasons where try to save some money for next year, kind of tank, and especially I'm sure the Carolina Panthers trading up kind of dampered any of the Colts' hope in getting probably the quarterback they wanted. They might or they might reach on a guy like Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, as you said, but it's got to be a pretty disappointing start to free agency. Even free agency. So.
And Frank Wright's got to be smiling, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's going to pick his quarterback. What quarterback he wants. He already put a really good staff together.
Yeah, really veteran-based staff.
Yes, and I think I don't think they'll have the turnaround kind of like Jacksonville did, but that hiring him as a head coach kind of feels like Jacksonville hiring a Doug Peterson type. Just a solid presence there.
One other quarterback I forgot to mention that might be on the move. It came out last night. Rumors were that Baker Mayfield could be headed to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's or Jacoby Brissett. I also read he was another guy. So that's looking to be Tank City there in Tampa Bay.
Sure. This year. I would say
that division's terrible though, so they could win it at 7-10.
I would roll with Baker or Jacoby over Kyle Trask. So
for sure. If you want
to, because that division's not good.
No, it's terrible. Yeah, so. What's Atlanta going to do with the quarterback spot?
Yeah.
New Orleans got their guy. I think New Orleans is probably the team to beat now.
I think so too. Well, and it was smart in New Orleans. I didn't even put the 2-2 together. The Dennis Allen, Derek Carr connection from their Oakland days because it lasted so briefly because Oakland fired him after 8 games. Not really 8 games, but it was quick stint there. So, yep. Well, before we get into March, unless you have anything else free agency wise that you want to hit on, Before we get into March Madness, do you want to get educated a little bit?
Let's do it. I need it. I lost a few too many brain cells over the weekend.
All right, well, let's see what happened on this day on March 13th throughout the history of sports. On this day in 1894, a guy named J.L. Johnstone of England invented the horse racing starting gate. No idea how they started before that. I guess you just let your horse off the reins and let it go. I don't know. No idea. I'm not real up to date on my horse racing knowledge.
Nope. Kentucky Derby's coming up here in a few months, though.
It is. You better send in your video of you riding a horse for a preview show or something.
Ever.
Let's see. Man, not very good ones so far. On this day, 1960, the NFL's Chicago Cardinals moved to St. Louis.
Not much good comes out of St. Louis.
Man. A lot of figure skating stuff for some reason. A lot of SEC, ACC, Big East tournament stuff. Man.
Is the tournament starting earlier? No? It starts when? March 17th? March 16th? Technically starts the 14th tomorrow, but it's about usual.
Here we got some here. On this day in 2020, 12 hours after the PGA Tour canceled its flagship event, the Players' Championship, Augusta National announced postponement of the Masters tournament to a date to be fixed because of COVID-19 pandemic. This is when we really started to see things start to get canceled and postponed 3 years ago.
It was just 3 years ago when the NBA shut down. Just a few days ago, I saw the anniversary of that. So, it was a weird time, scary time.
Yes, it was. It was not a fun time to do the pod, but we cranked through it somehow.
Some way. Yeah.
And on this day last year, after a 40-day retirement, record-breaking quarterback Tom Brady announced he will play at least one more season in the NFL with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think it's coming up on 40 days, so maybe he passes that 40-day mark and then decides.
Oh, man. If he comes back again, I'm telling you, nobody's going to believe a word he ever says about anything going forward.
I think people start losing respect for him, too.
Yep. That's pretty short on this day this week. Not a lot happening on March 13th. I'm sure next week we'll have a lot of NCAA tournament on this day, I would think. So, but on this day is brought to you by, like it is every week, Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs that fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting at Mooney Woodcrafts on Instagram and Facebook. And if you let them know the Tan and J Man Show sent you, you will get 15% off your order.
NCAA tourney. I have a word association here that is NCAA tourney related, and I kind of just want to go right into it so we can talk about the bracket afterwards. I picked a random player from each Big Ten team that has made the farthest in the NCAA tournament.
I like this. Okay.
Starting with, I don't even know what year this was, Kalen Lucas.
Michigan State has so many guards over the years. Just all Big Ten.
Guys.
Stayed there 4 years. Tough as nails. He was one of those guys. Definition of a winner, Kalen Lucas. Never made the pros, or if he did, maybe it was just for a cup of coffee. But he's a guy I remember very well amongst a whole list of Spartan guards.
Yeah, I was trying to think of guards that did that in Michigan State. We had Shannon Brown, I remember. Then it was Kalen Lucas, Drew Neitzel, Kalen Lucas.
You go back to Mateen Cleaves even before Shannon Brown.
Yeah, and then it ended with Cassius Winston. And it seems like they've always doing that. Another Michigan State guy here, Raymar Morgan.
Oh, he was an athlete. He did have a few years in the NBA. Wore a headband, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I know Shannon Brown wore one. Maybe Morgan may have been off and on. I think he wore number 2 for the Spartans. Had cornrows, good wing, athletic. Man, this is giving me PTSD. I hated those Izzo teams. They were so good.
One of our least favorite Michigan State players of all time, Draymond Green.
Oh yeah, he's another definition of a winner. Even in the pros, he's been a winner for Golden State. But
Yeah.
he's a player. If you're a fan of that team, you love him. Anybody else, you hate him. I haven't been able to stand him since college, and can't stand him in the pros. But the dude knows his role, gets under player skins, just gets it done. But
Yeah. Still doing that too.
runs his mouth. Yep,
He and Dylan Brooks have feud now. He's had a feud with about every single NBA player. It seems like.
he has feuds with his own teammates.
Switching to Ohio State here because they had some good runs too. David Lighty.
David Light, the forgotten guy, I would say, out of that core,
Yeah,
but he was
good
the
guy.
defender. He was the lockdown defender, but he's kind of forgotten about. You usually talk about Diebler, Buford, Solinger, Kraft, Evan Turner, of course. But yeah, Lighty was the lockdown defensive guy and key role for the Buckeyes. And I know Buckeyes fans haven't forgot about him, and neither have hardcore Big Ten fans like yourself and myself.
It seems like David Lighty was the OG 6-year player. 'Cause
Yeah.
he was there because he blew out his knee, and he was there 6 years. Wisconsin now, Jordan Taylor.
Jordan Taylor, yeah, I actually had forgotten about Jordan Taylor. Man, this is bringing back some bad memories, Josh. he was clutch, good guard. Kind of was you had Devin Harris back in the day, or in Orlando Tucker, but he was kind of part of the next wave that came along, and then all the most recent Wisconsin guys that Bo had at the end of his tenure. So before, well, even Johnny Davis, I guess, was a great guard. But yeah, Jordan Taylor was really, really good.
William Buford.
Yeah, another one, Ohio State one. Never made the pros, I don't believe. He might have been drafted, but he never made the pros. But I think he's had a pretty successful career over in Europe. I just remember going to Value City Arena in 2011 when Ohio State was number 1. Purdue was ranked number 10. That game was over by halftime, and Buford and Diebler, I think, are still raining down threes. So, or number 44, but he was a guy, when he got hot, every time he shot, the crowd would gasp in the arena because he thought it was going down.
Yeah, Buford was ridiculously consistent. You look at his numbers, and starting his freshman year, his numbers were like the same every single year. Just ridiculously consistent. Mitch McGary.
Oh man, Mitch McGary,
Talk about
kind
a
of
bust.
I was gonna say kind of a bust. Saw him in person in Savannah, Georgia, back in 2014 after he was done
I remember
with.
that.
It was just really random. He was coming out of a restaurant while we were going in, and my cousin Bryce yelled, "Hey, Mitch!" and he turned around and gave a head nod. I'm like, "Oh, that was Mitch McGary," but was part of the Oklahoma City Thunder for a little bit. But yeah, he was hyped up to be really, really good, and it was more of a role player for Michigan on really good teams, though, on national championship contending teams, or team, I should say. But
Yeah, he had a really good NCAA tournament too, which
Yeah.
is why he got drafted where he did.
he did. But Purdue recruited him hard, and in the end, he went to Michigan. And John Beilein won a lot of those recruiting battles over other Big Ten teams. So.
Ben Brust.
Ben Brust, annoying guy for Wisconsin. Hit big shots though at times, the big moments. Another just winner. Another guy. We talk about Michigan State having guards. Wisconsin's the same way. Have a lot of guards that are just gritty, winners, annoying. You're like, how's this guy a good basketball player? That was Ben Brust.
Yeah. Ben Brust actually kind of made Illinois fans mad this year because he was talking about Illinois-Wisconsin football games. Like, we'll beat Illinois. There's no way we lose to Illinois. We'll never lose to Illinois. And then we got to look at this, and we're going to win the Big Ten West. And then Illinois went into Wisconsin, beat them 34-10.
Whooped him.
Yeah. Josh Gosser, remember him?
I remember the name,
Yeah, no,
but
21. He was there in Wisconsin for a while on that team that lost to Duke.
just another one that's a winner that
Yep.
just kind of off the bench, role player. I think he was off the bench.
I think he did both.
A little bit of both. But yeah, it was just, those Wisconsin teams, Michigan State teams, Ohio State teams, those were the main three, really, of us growing up that have just, quote unquote, badgered, no pun intended, everybody.
Troy Williams.
Troy Williams, very athletic for Indiana. He had a cup of coffee in the NBA. I remember he was really good at the reverse dunk. But another guy, I didn't feel like they got his full potential out of him.
Yeah, he was the guy that I think he just got by with athleticism. He kind of, I'm trying to think of that guy who Ohio State had back in like the early 2010s with like Sullinger and those guys. I want to say his name was Sam something. Sam Thompson.
Yeah.
That's who Troy Williams kind of reminded me of because he didn't really do a whole lot except dunk. He could shoot a little bit, but good defensively because of his athleticism. But yeah.
Well, and on that team, you had Cody Zeller and Victor Oladipo, who both went 2 and 4 in the draft, and you even had a good college player like Jordan Holes and a young Yogi Ferrell. Or am I ahead of myself?
Williams, Williams was with like Yogi, and I think he was with Thomas Bryant.
Okay, so I was thinking he was a freshman on that team. Okay, so all right, I got you. Well, even then, because he was only like there 3 years, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was only there 3 years. I want to say he was on that Indiana. He was on that Indiana team that beat Kentucky to go to the Sweet 16. Back in 2016 or something like that.
Okay.
Spike Albrecht with Purdue, not Michigan.
Oh, Spike. Yeah, he wasn't that great on Purdue his 1 year. He couldn't stay healthy, but he did have his moments. Had a good game against Villanova at Mackey Arena that year. Had a good game at Northwestern in front of a raucous Northwestern crowd that was trying to make the tournament for the first time ever. Didn't do it that year. But yeah, Spike's will always be known for his performance against Louisville on Michigan in the national championship game. But he was a grad assistant for Purdue for I think last year, and then he decided this year he was just going to go get a regular job, or maybe it was 2 years ago, and last year decided to go get a regular job. But still talks highly about Purdue. Purdue fans like him. So he's an Indiana kid. But so I was happy when he joined Purdue because he was annoying at Michigan as an opposing fan.
Duncan Robinson.
There's a guy I never thought would be in the pros, and not only has he been in pros, he's had a decent career for himself. And transfer from Division III, and just talk about shooters who can shoot. Duncan Robinson killed every Big Ten team. And was a good member of the Miami Heat for a while. I'm not sure how he's doing now, but what a story!
He got a big deal, and he kind of plateaued a little bit, and he kind of fell out of the rotation there. But now he's kind of back into it.
Yeah, and got paid.
A little better. Aaron Henry.
I forgot about him. Another winner for the Spartans. Was his brother a Spartan, or his brother played somewhere else?
I don't know if he had a brother.
Or am I thinking of somebody else? I'm probably thinking of somebody else.
Aaron Henry's the guy from Indianapolis that seemed like he should have been a lot better than he was. He was there in 2021.
Okay, I must. Okay, I mean, I remember. Yeah, I remember we were talking. I thought he had a brother somewhere, but I'm probably mistaken. A lot of these guys run together, to be honest, over the years. But no, he was one that I can't even remember if Purdue recruited him or not. I'm sure they did if he went to Michigan State.
I know it's kind of a Michigan State-Illinois battle there. And he ended up obviously choosing Michigan State, but he's the thing I remember most is Izzo screaming at him when he was a freshman in the tournament. And Twitter, of course, went off because Izzo was screaming at him. That's the only thing I really remember him for. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about Izzo here in a little bit.
Last one here, Isaiah Livers.
Yeah, good player for Michigan. Completely forgot about him until right now, though. Yeah. He was a good player. He seemed like he was there forever.
He's in the NBA, too. I think he's with Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan has a lot of guys in the NBA. He was a guy he was always consistent. He was going to get his. He was going to get average double figures every night. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about him, but he was athletic and good, solid player.
Could shoot. Yeah, he's a good player.
Another winner. A lot of these guys are, and that's why their teams made it far.
That's why their teams won, yeah.
So, that's a good list. That's a lot of names. I like when we do these Big Ten lists. I kind of make myself feel stupid at times for not remembering certain guys, but it's always good to reach into an old memory bank and talk about some guys we haven't talked about in a while. And that is the word association segment this week, brought to you by Proforma Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting in 2023, Proforma Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs, so you need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call today at 574-210-3815, or you can email her at barbara.vanweinsberg@proforma.com.
NCAA tourney is here.
What a time. What a time.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, what'd you think of the brackets yesterday? The outcome, the field of 68. Any
I
snubs?
thought I thought Rutgers was snubbed.
I did too.
For sure. I thought they deserved to get in over Mississippi State and Nevada.
Yep.
Pitt deserved to get in, and they were last four in, but they finished second, I believe, in the ACC. I
Yeah.
know the ACC's down. They have some bad losses, but they deserve to get in. But yeah, I don't think Mississippi State's that good. I don't think Nevada deserved it at all. They had some bad losses. The thing that kept Rutgers out was that loss to Minnesota. That is what did it.
Well, and you look back too. If I'm a Rutgers fan, I'm real frustrated because they lost to Ohio State when they shouldn't have. You remember the referees blew that game by the out of bounds call. So with that said, I thought maybe the officials might put them in, but or not the officials, but the committee. But they didn't do so. I was really surprised when they're out, and they weren't the first team out. It was Oklahoma State was the first team out. Rutgers was second. So I guess they had to beat Purdue to get in. I didn't think they needed to. I thought if they beat Michigan, that was enough, and
I agree.
I was proven wrong.
Yeah, I completely agree. It does seem like Rutgers had a bad. They did lose at home to Nebraska as well.
Yeah.
And they lost to Seton Hall, who was not very good. So they had some bad losses on their resume, which kept them out. They had one really good win at Purdue, but other than that, what were their great wins? A lot of them were at home.
Well, when their team changed due to injury, from that point on, they only had one quad one win.
Yes.
So that kind of hurt them too.
When Mag got hurt, they were 3-7 in their last 10 games.
Yeah,
which hurts. But yeah, losing at home to Nebraska and then at Minnesota, I think that was like back-to-back games too. And then they lost at home to Northwestern too. So they really limped down the finish line. And yeah, I thought after they beat Michigan that they had pretty much solidified themselves. But probably Penn State going on that run kind of kept them out.
that's a good point. And really, I was surprised. I wasn't surprised they beat Michigan because I predicted that, but I was surprised how easily they beat Michigan.
Yeah, because Rutgers has a hard time scoring.
Yeah.
They play really good defense, but yeah, Michigan had every opportunity to make the NCAA tournament, and I'm honestly surprised they accepted an NIT bid.
I was too. And I know a lot of people are getting on North Carolina for doing it. I kind of wish more programs would do it and let the mid majors and stuff that I think could benefit more from playing NIT get in, because I don't think it does a lot for a
at the
big
same
program.
time. It makes North Carolina look like sore losers.
It does,
which they are.
It does.
Yeah, first preseason number one ever to go to the NIT, and I think a lot of people, at least me and you, thought they weren't going to be as good as what the prognosticators were indicating heading into the season. Because again, they were an NIT team last year, and then they got hot in the ACC tournament, and they snuck in and then made a run. So
yeah, Hubert Davis. It's interesting to dissect his 2-year run at North Carolina so far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. Very interesting.
But besides that, I didn't think there was too many snubs. I was a little disappointed. I mean, we got some very intriguing round one matchups, but I was also a little disappointed. I didn't feel like, I mean, I'm probably completely wrong on this, but filling out my bracket, I didn't have too many upsets in round one because I didn't feel like there's tons of matchups for upsets.
I had some upsets. It's mainly I picked against the teams I absolutely despise. That's the only upsets I.
Well, for instance, like, and not even that this is really upset, but like 8-9 matchups look. I mean, they're going to be really intriguing. They're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, they always are.
But I was hoping we'd get some more mid majors in the 8-9s.
Yeah, and it's easy to choose 10 over 7, which I did that. Sure. I did that in every single region except one. So, yeah. So those are always easy. I don't even think I had an 11 over 6 in this year's bracket. 12 over 5 are easy ones to pick as well. But, yeah, and honestly, 13 over 4 is getting just as scary as 12 over 5 is. So.
Well, let's go region by region. We'll start with the South. Assuming you have Alabama over
I do.
Corpus Christi or Southeast Missouri State. Alabama might be the least favorite team of America, though, coming into this.
Yes. What are your thoughts on not having a 16 seed playing game and having the last 4 or the last 8 teams in the play-in games? You play 2 games amongst the last 4 at-large teams, and then 2 games amongst the last 4 at-large teams. Because if you win your conference championship, you shouldn't have to play in a playing game to get in.
I agree, and I don't like these 16 seeds. It's like they're in, but they're not in. And I don't feel like that's a reward. I mean, you see these teams on Selection Sunday go nuts when their name's announced. It's really cool. It's like, just put them in the field. They're highly unlikely. It's happened one time ever. Got to beat the 1 seed anyway. So
the one argument you could make for still having it is it gives them an opportunity to actually get an NCAA tournament win in their history. So
that's true. That's true.
Part of the reason, but I think they deserve to all be in.
That's true. The 8-9 matchup's an intriguing one in this region. Maryland, 8 seed versus West Virginia, the 9 seed. Who you got?
Maryland kind of limped to the finish line a little bit as well. They weren't playing nearly as good basketball, and they really struggle away from the Xfinity Center. So I am actually taking West Virginia. I haven't watched a ton of West Virginia, but I know Bob Huggins' teams always like to press. Does help. Maryland has a vet point guard in Jameer Young. But I think West Virginia gets them.
I'm going Big Ten here. I'm going Maryland. They, like you said, they weren't good away from the Xfinity Center. They were better neutral than they were on the road this year, which most teams are. But I haven't watched West Virginia a ton besides when they lost to Purdue back in the PK way back in November. But you're right. Huggins' teams are coached well. They're tough. They press you. So could give Maryland some problems. I just think Maryland's more talented at the end of the day. So I got a Maryland advancing there. How about in the 5-12 matchup, San Diego State versus Charleston?
Popular 12-5 upset, and I'm going with the 12-5 upset. Pat Kelsey has done an unbelievable job in Charleston, did a great job at Winthrop, and he should be in line for a big, big job here within the next few years. Won over 30 games this year, and I'm picking them to upset the San Diego State.
I'm right there with you. I know this is a real popular one amongst the college basketball talking heads, but we're talking heads too. And I've liked this Charleston team all year. I mean, they went 31-3 for a reason.
Yes.
And I don't think San Diego State's that scary of a 5.
No.
So 4-13, we got Virginia against Furman.
I know a lot of the talking heads are taking Furman because Virginia just struggles to score. But there is so much experience on this Virginia team that I think experience alone gets them to at least around a 32.
I agree. I'm not going against Tony Bennett. Yeah. Not in the first round. Intriguing one here, 6-11, Creighton versus NC State.
NC State was kind of a controversial if you will, because Clemson was out and Clemson beat them 3 times, which doesn't always matter. But give me Creighton. I thought Creighton played some good basketball. However, they are without one of their best players. But I think Creighton gets it done against NC State.
I think Creighton's a real sleeper to do some damage in this tournament. They were preseason top 10. Like you said, they are without one of their players, but they've been for a while. So they've kind of got used to play without them. And I think they take care of business against NC State there.
I agree.
3-14 Baylor against UC Santa Barbara.
Give me Baylor.
Yep. I think Baylor pretty easily. 7-seed Missouri against the 10-seeded Utah State.
This is one of the upset picks I have.
Imagine that.
Give me Utah State. Utah State can shoot. Both teams are really good offensively. Missouri's athleticism could really hurt Utah State, but give me Utah State for my hatred alone.
I'm going with Missouri. Every time I watch them this year, they've been pretty impressive. Now, the most I watched them was against Illinois, and they played lights out that night. So, wow. or Illinois just didn't turn the lights on. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that was the case. But I'm taking the Tigers to get past Utah State there, but it wouldn't shock me. I mean, 10-7 wouldn't shock me. It's almost a coin flip like an 8-9.
Yeah, when I saw Missouri as the 7, I thought for sure that 10 was going to be Illinois.
They wouldn't do that again. They wouldn't do that again.
I was hoping for it, honestly. Arizona, Princeton.
I think Arizona takes care of the Tigers, but I bet it's close at half.
I can see that. Give me Arizona as well.
You want to finish out that bracket, or are we going right down to the next one?
I'd say we just finish her out.
All right. So I have Bama against Maryland. You have Bama against West Virginia.
Give me Bama. I think they get to the Sweet 16.
I think they do too. I'm going to be rooting against them, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I do not like this Bama team.
Charleston against Virginia. We both have this matchup.
Give me Charleston. I think they get to the Sweet 16. I've watched them a little bit this year. They're good.
I know they're good. I just couldn't pull the trigger over Tony Bennett. I think the experience comes through again, and Bennett doesn't get knocked out by Cinderella early yet again. So on the Sweet 16 for the Cavaliers. Creighton against Baylor.
Creighton.
I got Creighton too.
Yeah, Baylor kind of struggled a little bit down the stretch. I think they lost to Iowa State twice. Did they lose to them in the Big 12 tournament as well, or am I making that up?
They did.
But I know just last weekend they lost to at home to Iowa State as well.
And Missouri and Arizona for me. Utah State and Arizona for you.
Give me Arizona.
I got the Wildcats advancing to Sweet 16 as well. So Bama or College of Charleston going to Elite Eight for you.
Alabama.
I have Bama over Virginia as well, so we agree there. Then Creighton and Arizona.
Give me Arizona. I think they go to the Elite Eight.
I got the Blue Jays. I got Creighton here. I got Creighton making a run. So who do you have, Alabama or Arizona, representing the South in the Final Four?
I have Arizona going to the Final Four. I like this Arizona team. Tommy Lloyd's done a fantastic job.
They are very athletic. They're fun to watch, but I've been burnt so many times by Arizona in my brackets.
And Florida State, you're lucky you're not in it this year.
I remember the year I had Arizona win it all with when Sean Miller was there, and they lost to a 13-seed Buffalo in the first round. So that's just nightmares on my bracket history. I'm taking Creighton in the upset over Alabama to make the Final Four. I have a 6 seed coming out of the South.
Yeah, honestly, this is the year to see like a 6, a 9, a 4, and a 11.
I am not confident in my bracket at all. So I was like, I got to take a shot somewhere in some region. This was kind of the region I picked there. Moving down to the East, Purdue Boilermakers, number 1 seed. They hung on. I still think they would have been number 1 even if they lost to Penn State yesterday, which was a game they probably should have won by about 10, but they won by just 2 points. Struggled with the press down the stretch, but it wasn't even that as much as it was missing free throws and some wide open looks, but free throws. Guys who are usually good free throw shooters not making them. I just don't know. I don't know what it is. And it was unbelievable how this team can win a Big Ten regular season championship, Big Ten tournament championship, first time to do that in school history, and get a 1 seed, first time since 96. And you have people calling for Matt Painter's head yesterday in a game Purdue won. Chill out, people. Chill out. It's, do I want them to make the Final Four and win national championship? Absolutely. But if wherever their journey ends, if they don't make it, I'm going to be disappointed. But yet, this season, they've achieved so much when everybody was picking them to be 5th or 6th in the Big Ten. They did everything they were hoping last year's team could do. People are just unbelievable at times. Unbelievable.
Give me Purdue.
I got Purdue beating either Fairleigh Dickinson or Texas Southern, which they beat Fairleigh Dickinson in the tournament in 1988, which in that year they beat Memphis State in the second round. Speaking of then Memphis State, now Memphis against Florida Atlantic in the 8-9 game. Who do you got there?
Memphis is a really good team starting to come on, too. Give me Memphis.
Memphis has, I think, 11 seniors, I believe. So they're going for it. They're the most experienced team, I think, in the field as far as age goes. Florida Atlantic's a good story, but I agree. I think Memphis beats them. If Florida Atlantic does advance, it'll be interesting because Purdue beat them in football. Maybe they can beat them in basketball, too. Barely beat them in football. Here's an upset special by many out there. 5-seed Duke versus 12-seed Oral Roberts. Who you got?
Give me Duke. Duke's playing like one of the top 10 teams in the country. They're a scary 5.
Yeah, this last month they're looking like the Duke of old. I agree. I got Duke. Duke in a tough one, but I think they survived the Cinderella upset. Another popular one amongst the talking heads for 4 upsets: 4-seed Tennessee, 13-seed Louisiana.
I have not liked the way this Tennessee team's looked. However, I am taking them to get to the next round in a close one.
I picked Louisiana. I went for this. Maybe was my biggest upset, but Tennessee has not played the same since their point guard went down.
Yeah.
Kentucky, Providence, 6-11. Rumors are Ed Cooley could be headed to Georgetown.
Interesting. What's that mean for Micah Shrewsbury, you wonder?
Notre Dame? Maybe Notre Dame. I'm taking Kentucky as well. They're starting to play better, even though Vanderbilt beat them in the SEC tournament, but they're starting to play better too. 3-seed Kansas State, 14-seed Montana State.
Give me Kansas State.
I agree. They play good defense. Give me Kansas State. 7-seed Michigan State, 10-seed USC. I thought Michigan State might be a 10 seed in this tournament, but they're 7.
Give me Michigan State. I think they're better than USC. I still don't really like them.
I'm taking Michigan State as well, even though they haven't played well in a while. So, and number 2, Marquette against 15 seed Vermont that finds himself in the tournament almost every year, it seems like.
Here, yeah. Give me Marquette. Marquette's really good basketball.
I agree. I got Marquette as well. Purdue against Memphis.
I think this will be a close one. I think this could be a very scary matchup for Purdue. Purdue's guards, specifically Fletcher Loyer, has not played well. They struggle with teams that are a little bit more athletic than them. And the NCAA tournament's all about guard play. And their guard play, as I said, Braden Smith's been pretty good. But give me Purdue in this one. In a close one.
I think it's a scary matchup for Purdue either way, if Memphis or Florida Atlantic's coming out of it. But in the end, I think Zach Edey's just been dominant, and he's getting better as the season's going on, which is crazy. It will be interesting to see how he's officiated in the tournament. But give me Purdue in a pretty close one as well. I got Duke against Louisiana. You got Duke against Tennessee.
Give me Duke.
I am taking Duke as well. Let's go on Sweet 16 and a rematch against Purdue earlier this season in Madison Square Garden. On the bottom side of the bracket, Kentucky or Kansas State?
Give me Kentucky.
I have Kansas State here. Kentucky's playing better, but I think Coach Cal's last game at Kentucky will be in the second round. Michigan State or Marquette?
Marquette.
I got Marquette as well. Purdue or Duke?
Give me the Dukies. I'm sorry to say, a lot of people are picking them to go to the Final Four, and they're playing like a Final Four team right now.
All the ESPN guys have Duke. My brain was telling me Duke, to be honest, but my heart said pick Purdue.
Hey, when your team's a 1 seed, you better pick them to win the national title.
I gotta try, don't I? I gotta try. I don't want to face Duke twice, especially in Madison Square Garden, which would be interesting because Duke's gonna have a ton of people there, but everybody else is gonna be pulling for Purdue because Duke's hated everywhere. Yeah. But so I'm taking Purdue. We'll see what happens. Kentucky or Marquette? I got Kansas State or Marquette.
Give me Marquette.
I got Marquette as well. So my Elite Eight's another rematch for Purdue. It's like they were putting the rematches in. Do you have Marquette or Duke?
I have Duke.
You got Duke. So you got Duke and Arizona in the Final Four. I got Purdue and Creighton in the Final Four. We'll switch over real quick. I know we're kind of getting close on time. We'll switch over to the Midwest and the West and do these really fast. Midwest, I'm assuming you got Houston over Northern Kentucky.
Yep.
How about Iowa or Auburn?
This seems like a Gator Bowl or Outback Bowl match.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. Give me Auburn, though. I don't like the way Iowa's played either down the stretch.
I'm taking Iowa just because I had a good time talking to your uncle this weekend and your grandma. So I'm taking Iowa. Good. Should be a good game, though. Should be a good game. Miami, Florida, or Drake?
I chose Miami, but I would not be surprised to see Drake knock them off.
I'm taking Miami and their expensive NIL deals there. Indiana or Kent State? Rematch of the 2002 Elite Eight.
This is a popular upset pick as well, but give me Indiana.
I think Indiana will be too much in the end, but Kent State's a pretty good MAC team. Iowa State or Mississippi State or Pittsburgh?
Give me Iowa State.
I got Cyclones as well. I like the way they're playing. Xavier or Kennesaw State?
Dave.
I got Xavier as well. Texas A&M or Penn State? Another good football matchup there.
Love the way Penn State's playing right now. Give me Penn State to knock them off.
Yep, they can splash threes. That's always dangerous for everybody in the tournament.
Guard play in the tournament. Jalen Pickett can carry a team.
Texas or the popular toothpaste brand Colgate?
Texas.
I got Texas as well. Houston or Iowa?
I have Houston over Auburn.
That's right, you do. I forgot. Why would you pick Iowa? I got Houston over Iowa. Sorry, Iowa fans. Miami against Indiana.
I unfortunately went chalk in this region, so give me Indiana.
I got Indiana as well, making the Sweet 16, which I know a lot of IU fans think that'd be a successful season if they get there. It still is crazy to me. Trace Jackson-Davis, I know it's not his fault entirely, but how good of Hoosier he is. He's going to go down as one of their better players of all time. No Big Ten championship of any sort in his career. Yeah. Pretty crazy. Iowa State or Xavier?
Give me Xavier.
I got X as well. Penn State or Texas? Another good football matchup.
Give me Texas.
I got Nittany Lions marching on to Sweet 16. My Big Ten bias is coming out a little bit tonight, but
I tend to root against every single other Big Ten team.
Penn State's fun to watch, though. They play hard. They splash threes.
That's the only one I wouldn't mind seeing making a little bit of a run.
And, in the Big Ten tournament, that old saying of you can't beat a team 3 times kind of proved false. Penn State did it to Illinois. Purdue did it to Ohio State and Penn State. So, Houston or Indiana?
Give me Houston. Guard play will be way too much for Indiana.
I got Houston as well. Xavier or Texas for you?
Give me Texas.
I have Xavier over Penn State. So Houston or Texas? This would be a big Texas matchup here.
Give me Texas.
I got Houston beating Xavier to go to the Final Four in Houston, which would be interesting. And let's go down to the West. Kansas or Howard?
Give me Kansas.
I got Jayhawks as well. You're fighting the Illini or the Arkansas Razorbacks.
This will be the J-Man's Book of Prediction of the Week. Both teams, super similar, came in with high expectations. Arkansas was ranked 10th. Illinois was in the top 25 at least. Two teams really athletic, bunch of talent. Arkansas has 2 projected lottery picks. I think Arkansas is going to be way too much for Illinois. Illinois has been 4-6 over the last 10. So give me Arkansas on this one. J-Man's Book of Prediction of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watchering for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watchering@infb.com.
This is a very intriguing matchup. I think it's going to be a very fun game. Arkansas has made back-to-back Elite Eight appearances.
Either team shoots the ball well.
If I'm Illinois, I like Des Moines as our place to go. I think Illini Nation will travel well. Give me the Illini in a close one, J-Man. You'll be sweating it out. You'll be sweating it out, but they're moving on, and you'll feel a little bit better about their season. A little bit. St. Mary's or VCU?
Give me St. Mary's. That St. Mary's team's fun to watch. Always are, it seems like.
I got VCU. I think they're really good, and they've had past success. I know that was a long time ago, but they're pretty good. UConn or Iona?
UConn.
Yes, I got UConn taking down the Rick Pitino there. TCU or Arizona State or Nevada?
TCU.
I got TCU as well. Gonzaga or Grand Canyon? Gonzaga might be the best 3 seed of all time.
Yeah, Zags.
I got the Zags as well. Northwestern or Boise State? Do I even need to ask?
No.
It's in Sacramento, so Boise State would probably have more fans there than Northwestern. But I got the Wildcats moving on, just to spite you, Josh. UCLA or UNC Asheville?
UCLA.
I got UCLA as well. Kansas or Arkansas?
Give me Kansas.
I got Kansas over the Illini in a close one, though. I think the Illini play with your heartstrings there, J-Man.
Illinois supposedly beat them in a secret scrimmage this year, so who knows?
I think Kansas got a raw deal getting sit in the West of Vegas instead of Houston.
Yeah.
Didn't break my heart, though. St. Mary's or UConn?
I have UConn.
I have VCU upsetting UConn, going to the Sweet 16 for a rematch of the 2011 Elite Eight between Kansas and VCU there. TCU or Gonzaga?
Give me the Zags.
I got the Zags as well. Boise State or UCLA?
Give me UCLA.
I got UCLA over Northwestern. Kansas or UConn?
Give me UConn. I love the way UConn's been playing.
I got Kansas over VCU. And then Gonzaga or UCLA?
UCLA losing Clark kills them. Give me Zags.
I got Gonzaga as well. So do you have UConn or Gonzaga making the Final Four?
I have UConn.
You are on that. You're on that Hurley train. I got Gonzaga beating Kansas. So on the left side of your bracket, who do you got? Arizona or Duke?
Give me Arizona.
You got Arizona. I have Purdue over Creighton. And on the right side of your bracket, who do you have? Texas or UConn?
Give me UConn.
UConn.
No, actually, give me Texas. Sorry.
Give you Texas. I have Houston. So in your national championship, Arizona or Texas?
Texas 77-70.
Texas loses their coach and wins the national title. That would be quite a story.
Yeah.
I have Purdue over Houston 75-70. And I would bawl like a baby if that happens.
Yeah.
Beating Calvin Sanctions. That'd be beautiful.
That would be poetic, wouldn't it?
But it would be tough. That would be Purdue's luck to get the championship against the team that's hosting the whole thing. It's going to be fun to watch. Very unpredictable tournament. Always fun. Always stressful when your team's in it. But glad Purdue plays Friday night so I can enjoy Thursday games without even worrying about Purdue winning or losing. Because I'm a baby. Like, if they would lose early on a Thursday, I wouldn't watch probably the whole weekend. So.
Yeah, that'll probably be me when Illinois loses to Arkansas. So.
Well, your birdie or bogey this week. Let's see if you can claw back within one stroke or keep it at 2 or fall back, unfortunately, to be 3 down. Jalen Ramsey, the new Miami Dolphin, became the 4th defensive back in NFL history to be named first-team All-Pro 3+ times and play for 3+ different teams before turning the age of 30. What other 3 defensive backs did this?
Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders is one.
I want to say Darrell Revis?
Darrell Revis is 2. You got yourself a par at least, so you're not falling back. Wow. Good pull.
I have no idea on the last one.
You got to throw out a guess because you got to take a chance to get a birdie.
Man, who is a good defensive back? Cornerback or safety? It doesn't matter which one. Does it? Or is it just cornerback, or did you say defensive
Nope,
back?
defensive back.
Not Ed Reed, you idiot. Oh man, I have no idea. Brock Marion.
Good guess, but no, it is the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Yep,
Man.
Honey Badger. So you got a par. You're not falling behind, so you're still 2 strokes down.
I'll take it. I'll take a par.
Wrap us up there, J-Man.
Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show. We'll be back at it same time, same channel next Monday. Have a fantastic week, everybody.